Hello kiddies, welcome to another pancreas-proddingly thrilling episode of Techspert Weekly. And normally on this show I like to serve you up a delicious feast of hot premonitions all about some upcoming blower, by donning my best Mystic Meg getup and gazing warily into the future. Or at least just peering somewhat curiously at the Tech Radar news page. However, this episode is going to be a wee bit different because it's Honor Magic V2 launch day. That's right, we're talking some proper bendy brilliance that can fit right inside your pants. So the Honor Magic V2 has just gone on sale for £1,700 minus a single shiny penny. Although if you spunk up for one before March the 1st, you'll bag yourself some bonus extra loot, including some bloody expensive Bang & Olufsen headphones that'll make you look like a proper posh muggable wanker as you strut your way down the street. You'll find some more info on all that malarkey down in the video description, including a voucher code thingy to get some extra money off. You just gotta promise your Uncle Spurt you'll do the right thing and spend those savings on whiskey. Alright? Anyway, I already reviewed an early model of the Honor Magic V2 last year, but now I've got my mitts on the proper UK retail version. So here's a summary of the thoughts what popped into my head while playing with this surprisingly skinny pocket rocket, including how many of the crappy bits they've managed to sort right out. After, of course, what is undebatably the best jingle in YouTube history. Techspert Weekly! Is undebatably actually a word? No, I just looked it up and turns out that is a Techspert original. But of course, if everybody starts using it all of the time, then it'll become a thing and I'll look less like a massive thickie, so let's get on it. Now, the Honor Magic V2 may not be my absolute favourite foldable right now. That honour definitely still goes to the brilliant OnePlus Open. But Honor's effort is undebatably the most gorgeous bendy blower out there, boasting a strokeably soft arse end and a ridiculously skinny frame that's more slender than a bloody iPhone. Although I've known house bricks that are more slender than an iPhone, so it's not really saying much. But seriously, for a bendy blower, this is just obscenely skinny. To the point where I'm shocked they even managed to fit a bloody USB port in the thing. It still feels fantastic to use, and unfurling it one-handed is as easy as... as easy as that. Smooth. Christ, I'm actually sweating. And yeah, it is a shame that the Honor Magic V2 isn't fully water resistant like Samsung's Galaxy Folds, but it's really hard to pick apart the design work here. Just don't get it too moist and you're onto a winner. That 6.43-inch OLED slapped on the front end practically fills that entire space, and it's ideal for all of your movie streaming fun times. And with this retail version, we've now got that tasty HDR10 and Dolby Vision support in services like Netflix. But if you fancy a big one, well, just pop it open and drink in that mighty 8-inch screen. It's another crispy OLED panel, bright and poppy with gorgeous contrast and, best of all, a crease that's almost completely non-existent, like James Corden's talent. I really can't help but marvel at just how flat this thing goes. That crease, seriously, it's a mere shadow at most and it's barely perceptible beneath your fingers. And this bigger display is great for geeking out with some manga on the move, though it's not quite as well proportioned for reading as the Pixel Fold, where those pages really fill the insides. And skipping between the inner and the outer displays is as simple as just opening or shutting the Honor Magic V2, and whatever app or apps you're using will just pop right up again. And thank the baby Jesus, Honor has finally sorted out the multitasking for the retail unit of the Magic V2, so now you can actually split that screen horizontally as well as vertically. So now you can actually enjoy a video in the top or bottom half of the screen rather than all crunched up at the side. Although actually my sags and wrinkles and dead behind the eyeballs expression are a lot less obvious when they're in a much smaller format. Aye, that's much better. And the hinge certainly seems to be a lot stiffer on the final retail model of the Honor Magic V2, so it's much easier to prop up at pretty much any angle for enjoying a bit of YouTube hands-free, or other things hands-free. Now sadly, because the Honor Magic V2 launched bloody ages ago, it is powered by Qualcomm's older Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 rather than the fresher 8 Gen 3. Although that's the same setup that you'll find stuffed inside of the OnePlus Open, which of course I absolutely bloody adore, and it's still more than beefy enough for blasting through a good bit of Genshin for hours at a time, helped by the impressively slender cooling system. And also, through some sort of technical voodoo/devil work, Honor has managed to cram a 5,000 mAh capacity battery inside of the Magic V2. It's a clever bollocks silicon carbon effort, which is roughly the same thickness as a slice of sandwich ham. And that'll happily get you through a full day of intense action here on the retail model, and it can be juiced up in a jiffy with 66-watt wide charging support. As for that matrixy camera tech, well, it hasn't changed up at all hardware-wise, although Honor has sorted out some of the software issues. So that 50 meg main shooter is still dependable in most situations, only faltering in softer light. It's backed by a 50 meg ultrawide and a 20 meg telephoto shooter, and that can now focus on distant subjects without filling its pants, unlike the earlier model. And likewise, those audio issues I experienced when recording videos, such as this one of my cat treating me to a lovely view of his arsehole, are all sorted right out. However, somewhat annoyingly, you still can't take selfies using the rear camera just by flashing your hands like you can on some rivals. You've either got to awkwardly tap the shutter button, or otherwise use the smile shutter feature. Although thankfully this still also works for grimaces. Anyway, kiddies, that's my full update on the Honor Magic V2. As I say, full deets down in the video description. And now it's time for the part of the show that makes my own personal bendy 8-incher go decidedly limp. It's viewer comments. Viewer comments. Kicking us off this week is, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this. Frankly, I've got more chance of winning the Nobel Prize for the biggest schlong in the universe. This is an on-screen jobby. Says, I can't skip any Techspert video, is the correct answer. Asan says, thank you for posting Mr. Gobbs. You're welcome. HM Dax says, why so much unnecessary profanity, unprofessional and irritating? Man's accent is his entire personality. See, I would have personally said that some profanity, such as that directed at the iPhone SE or James Corden, is entirely necessary. Other profanities, such as me calling you a felching cockwomble, not quite so necessary, but it does make me feel a shitload better. As for unprofessional and irritating, well, guilty as charged, mate. There are many hours of video on this channel serving as irrefutable evidence. Next, Mythic Sons says, in an attempt to balance out the iOS iPhone SE hatred, I've got to ask, what is the worst smartphone you've experienced that isn't made by Apple? Mine was the Sony Xperia U. The LED light at the bottom was cool, but the phone itself was a laggy mess. Imagine not being able to answer phone calls just because the call answer screen takes too long to load. Yeah, some of those old, more budget-friendly Sonys could be a bit laggy, to say the least. I can't remember mine being quite that bad, but yeah, that LED light was cool as though. Very handy for waving about at gigs. Worst phone ever is a pretty tough one though, to be honest. I mean, obviously I reviewed some huge heaps of arse gravy back in the day, took on those early Androids with the god-awful resistive screens, the ones you had to frantically stab about 10 times before they actually did something. It was like trying to get a Gen Zer to do some work. Just stop TikToking and clean up your shit. Just joshing, kiddies, you guys are tops. Yeah, I do still occasionally get Vietnam-style flashbacks to those old Acer smartphones and wake up crying in a moist wee ball on the floor. And I don't know if many other people, many other Brits will remember this, but back in the day when the likes of Vodafone and EE and Orange used to have their own brand smartphones as well, usually really budget blowers. Yeah, those were usually about as fun to have in your hand as an angry incontinent squirrel. And does anyone remember Amazon's Fire phone or the BlackBerry BB10 phones before they finally merged with Android and everything? Because certainly God knows I've tried my best to forget them by pounding my brain with endless whiskey. Will Rivera says, y'all can complain about the phones available in the UK. In the States, we maybe have 4 different brands. So jealous of you guys. Jealous of us. Jesus Christ, things must be more dire over there than I thought. CMDR Magic says, everyone's still sleeping on the Nubia Z60 Ultra, best phone of 2024. Well, I have filled out ZTE's wee sample request form a good couple of weeks ago now, and I've heard absolutely bugger all from those guys. So actually, it's more like they're sleeping on me, which sounds all kinds of horny. But yeah, I'd absolutely love to review me some Nubias. Come on, ZTE, show me that love. And the subject of the show last week was the upcoming Xiaomi 14 Ultra, and we've had lots of insightful commentary from you fine folk at home. So Drumanic says, man, I'd love to get the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. That 1-inch sensor is a real major camera upgrade, unlike all the tiny incremental computational photography bullshit. That said, I've ended up pre-ordering the Samsung S24 Ultra. Just couldn't wait, eh? Gotta say, I've been enjoying this almighty slab right here, though it's kind of a tough call for me between this one and the OnePlus 12, which I also only just reviewed. Absolutely banging year so far, not even into February, and already 2 absolutely cracking flagships. Oh, and I'm hoping to get my mitts on the Galaxy S24 and the S24 Plus. In fact, I should have them by the time this video goes live, so stay tuned for more on those bad boys. Bonus Baby says, a camera bump the size of a football, but the camera bump is round and footballs are oval. Oh, I'm thinking American footballs, you're referring to soccer. I still really don't get why Americans call it football when they don't even kick the bastard, they just pick it up and hoy it about the place. I mean, just call it what it is, rugby with massive helmets. Satin Blue says, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra with an under-display camera would be awesome. If it works in Australia, I'll sell my socks for it. Just how valuable are socks in Oz? Is there some sort of sock shortage crisis? A sock shortage crisis, Miss Moneypenny. Maybe I should get Mr. Wank Sock on the old Australian eBay, make myself a packet.
Ah, you can piss right off, mate. No way am I going to Crocodile Dundee land. You seen the size of those f***ing spiders? Apparently they hide in the bog so they can crawl right up your bumhole and eat your kidneys.
Frankly, Mr. Wangsock, I don't know what's more devastatingly inaccurate. Your facts about Australian wildlife or your knowledge of the human anatomy.
Ah, well, as far as human anatomy goes, I've only got you for comparison. So as far as I know, all humans are covered in weird hairy moles and they're hung like tadpoles.
Back on the subject of the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, Sean Burns says it's probably going to be better than Samsung's Galaxy S24 Ultra. I just can't stand Samsung's image processing. It's always too harsh with sharpening, saturation and overexposure. Well, thankfully with my testing of the S24 Ultra so far, Samsung appears to have at least acknowledged it had a bit of an issue with the saturation and all that shenanigans, seems to have tempered it down. But I do know what you mean, the likes of Xiaomi and Oppo and OnePlus always seem to produce much more gorgeous, natural looking pictures compared with some of the rivals like Samsung and Apple. Luke Gillum here says, quick one, why don't selfie cameras pop up out of the phone, removing the need for screen notches? I mean, yeah, that used to be a really popular feature for all of a hot second on phones from the likes of Oppo, did them OnePlus. They were really quick, worked really bloody well, and they were just endlessly amusing as well, but I guess they kind of bulked up some smartphones, and also they're another point of failure, so unfortunately they kind of went the way of the mini discs. Nedlia says, I'm hyped for the Zenfone 11, really hoping it comes with Qi 2, skinnier bezels than previous years, and an under-display selfie camera. Yeah, I'd absolutely love a hidden selfie cam on the Zenfone 11. I think that'll be cracking, especially on such a small display. It would really make a difference not having that cut-out selfie orifice jobby, and you know, if the trade-off is more fuzzy selfies, that's a trade-off I'll happily make anytime. I actually prefer it, to be honest. XDLOL8483 says, do you plan on doing an S24 Plus Exynos versus S24 Ultra Snapdragon battery test? Well, I'm certainly planning on reviewing both of them in real life with my sim slapped in there for over a week just to see how the battery life does, but I'm not planning on doing any kind of side-by-side battery test shenanigans. I've had a few comments as well saying, Galaxy S24 Ultra warning, is it true that buyers of this phone will have to pay for the AI features in a year's time? Why hasn't anything been said about this? So this seems to all stem from a Samsung terms and conditions type thing where it says the AI features will be free until at least 2025. I asked the Samsung reps over in San Jose if they had any idea if there was any plans whatsoever to start charging for the AI features beyond 2025, and they said if there is, they hadn't heard anything about it. Of course, some of these features rely on third-party services, so you know they can't fully say that yes, those will remain free. But most of the AI features, they just happen on device. They don't require any cloud support or anything, so they should continue to work absolutely fine. But yeah, I think if they do start charging for any of this AI shiz, we firmly reserve the right to kick them right in the cock. And last up for this week, Zippy Finley Adventures says, after this Techspert Weekly, I'm pretty sure there will be an iPhone SE jingle. I mean, if there was an iPhone SE jingle, it would probably go a little bit something like this. iPhone SE, dearie dearie me, I'd rather stick thorns up the place where I pee from. iPhone SE can get right in the sea, cause it's hot f***ing garbage most undebatably. And I know that kind of sounds like I'm endorsing the disposal of garbage by dumping it into the ocean, but believe me, that's not the intention of the jingle. I'm only saying that every iPhone SE ever created should be hoid into the drink. Anyway, that's all the bollocks we've got time for this week, but a massive thank you to everyone who commented last week. Please do slap your comments down in the comments section, obviously, and we'll try and smash our way through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the f*** is next week? Holy shit, I got an entire week without launches. According to my calendar, either that or I just forgot to actually bung them in there. But yeah, that'll be bloody lovely. So that means I'll be able to catch up with some hot content on the regular Galaxy S23 and the S23 Plus. I've got a literal pile of tech right there just waiting to be fondled by my good self. So hopefully get some more of that on the go as well. But yeah, please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and have yourselves a bloody wonderful weekend, everyone. Cheers, love you.